Ooh, example. Ooh, man. Example. Oh, I guess, I'll
give you an example. I went to a local community college library to use a computer because I haven't gotten into an apartment yet. I'm returning to Denver. And I noticed that one of the guys that worked in the library, he's staring at me. He's pretending he's going to get coffee, but he's staring at me while I'm using the computer. So then when I leave, he and one of the other librarians, they say to me, well, goodbye now. Like, it gave me the impression they were saying, like, good riddance now.
I take the light rail to school every day, and maybe a black person was being loud. And my automatic thought is to think, black people, they're so loud, or black people this or black people that. And it's wrong, and I realize it right away, but it's just the culture that I grew up in, this white culture and racist culture that we live in. It's just bound to get you in one way or another.
For example, I see how my friends have to struggle, my friends who are people of color have to struggle with just getting through the day and dealing with the people that are in their lives or at stores who are giving them a hard time.
Say you have a white person come in, they'll greet the white person, and then a black person walks in and they'll get on you and ask you, is there something I can help you with? Can I find you something? Can I interest you in something? They'll pay more closer attention to the black person.
Sometimes if I go in the store, I've seen women like snatch their purse from one side of their arm and put it on the other side and look at me with a tight face, so it's kind of hilarious, knowing the kind of person I am, but then to see that reaction from other people, and sometimes it hurts. I mean, when you get a hateful reaction out of people that you don't even know, it's racism. At least I do.
I live in Lakewood, pretty white, and so when I occasionally see black people walking down the street, I don't feel any fear, or certainly not. I don't think of that. I just think, oh, there goes a black person. I mean, it's just because it's odd, because it's unusual. So I think that's, in a way, a kind of racism.
If I'm at work and I'm talking on the phone with someone and I'm talking with a coworker who is not black or whatever, they say, oh yes, sister, I understand what you're saying. And it's like, why would you, are you saying that to me because I'm black? Would you say that if you were talking to like an Asian person?
One example is there are more people, like let's take the job sites for instance. Okay, if you got 10 black people going for a job, I say maybe 2 will get considered for that job versus 5 white people.
And that means any job?
Any job.
I have a vivid recollection of being in a ski lift line, teenager, and people are talking back and forth, and I made what I thought was a curious comment, and this family who was in front of me, the father turned around and looked at me, and as soon as he looked at me and realized that I wasn't just like him, he just sort of like, his face froze, everything just, and then the whole family just, everybody stopped laughing because it was obviously immediately not funny.
Sure, when I was a child, I came up to a water fountain, and the teacher, I put my lips to the water fountain, and the teacher said, Lane, don't do that. Black people do that. So there I am, I'm a young lieutenant in the Army, and I just got through digging a foxhole with a black lieutenant. And we just dug really deep, and it's hot, and we're sweating, and we're tired. And I take my canteen, and I open it, and I take a drink. He takes his canteen out, and it's empty. Now that's a crisis.
What are you going to do?
Yeah. And you look at this individual next to you, who's now your comrade at arms, and is going to fight and bleed for your country with you, and you got the same blisters, but he's completely different. And you look at him, and he's got much larger lips, and there's a message in your head that says his lips are dirty, because he might have sucked on a water fountain. What the shit is that? And you look at him, and you make a decision. Right then and there, you say, is he my brother in arms, or is he black?
Which decision did you make?
I handed him my canteen. And he knew because he was from South Carolina. And he looked at me and he said, "You want me to use the canteen cup?" Because he knows. And I said, "No, you're my comrade in arms." And he drank and he licked his lips before he drank because his lips were dry. And he handed it back to me and he watched me. And I looked at him and I drank.
And you swapped spit with him.
In essence, we swapped spit. I mean, what are you going to do? You share a canteen and I swap and spit. And at that moment, I realized how much racism was in there. Insidious. Well, I am from the South, and every now and then my accent will come out a little bit.
And people tell you look a little bit like Bill Clinton.
Mostly black.
Really? Give me an example of the type of racism you see.
Yeah, for one, when you in a car accident or you go to court, sometimes you're just overpowered because you're white, and there's no help for a black.
I notice it in the way people respond to me, the way they respond to my children, the way they respond to my husband and I. We're a mixed couple, and so when we go places, I notice people. I notice their response is different to us. Either they'll stare longer or they'll be overly friendly. It's as if they're trying to make themselves more comfortable with us.
I date interracially. I get stares from white guys. I was at Adams Mark Club, nightclub, not long ago, and I'm out dancing, and there's this white guy, he's walking by, "Oh, you're a good dancer." I don't need to hear that. So what? I'm a good dancer. There's other good dancers too. Then he gets out on the dance floor by himself and he starts dancing like he's some kind of great dancer. Apparently trying to show me up. I don't care. And leave me alone. I date who I want to date. Just so happens I prefer dating white women.
When I think of an example of how that plays out, just look at the recent immigration debates. We want to build, a fence, a wall along our border with Mexico, which has brown people in it. But we don't want to build a fence or a border to the north with our Canadian neighbors, which is mostly white people. Why is that?
So when I asked people who said they saw racism in their daily lives to give me an example of it, two couldn't.
Ooh, example. Ooh, man.
Sometimes you're just overpowered because you're white.
Four automatically switched to generalities.
Just getting through the day and dealing with the people that are in their lives.
Let's take job sites, for instance.
They'll pay more closer attention to the black person.
But we don't want to build a fence or a border to the north with our Canadian neighbors, which is mostly white people.
But the rest did. Here are their examples.
I noticed that one of the guys that worked in the library, he's staring at me. He's pretending he's going to get coffee, but he's staring at me while I'm using the computer. So then when I leave, he and one of the other librarians, they say to me, "Well, goodbye now." Like it gave me the impression they were saying like good riddance now.
And my automatic thought is to think, black people, they're so loud.
I've seen women like snatch their purse from one side of their arm and put it on the other side.
I just think, oh, there goes a black person.
I'm talking with a coworker who is not black or whatever. They say, "Oh yes, sister, I understand what you're saying."
The father turned around, looked at me, and as soon as he looked at me and realized that I wasn't just like him, he just sort of like, his face froze, everything just, and then the whole family just, everybody stopped laughing.
I date interracially. I get stares from white guys. There's this white guy, he's walking by, "Oh, you're a good dancer." I don't need to hear that. So what? I'm a good dancer. There's other good dancers too.
I came up to a water fountain, and the teacher, I put my lips to the water fountain, and the teacher said, "Lane, don't do that. Black people do that."
I notice their response is different to us. Either they'll stare longer or they'll be overly friendly.